Very happy to have all of you guys here. I'm Jyoti Singhvi. Farah gave me a great introduction. I'm blushing a little bit. All right, this is how you could get in touch with me if you ever had any questions about anything related to communication skills. Okay, so this is a huge topic, and Farah and I were talking about this, and I'm like, we barely have 40, 50 minutes and then Q&A, and I want to cover so much. I couldn't sleep last night because I kept twisting and twirling on my presentation. What do I change? What do I add? What do I delete? I can't remove anything because I want to give it all to you. So here you have it. Not everything can be covered in 1 hour, and that breaks my heart, but it's a good start. As you know, there are many keys to success: hard work, diligence, focus, right? We know all of that. But there is a very, very important key to success, which a lot of us don't talk about. You know why? Because it's such a soft skill, we don't usually talk about it, and that's communication skills. A lot of you guys are here because you realize that it is an important skill. According to McKinsey and Company, analytical skills are important, but long-term success depends on interpersonal communication and long-term relationships to facilitate effective teamwork. These soft skills are often undervalued. All right, so what we're going to talk about today is not only going to cover, presentation skills, public speaking skills, but also interpersonal communication skills. Some of the skills may even transfer over into your personal lives. You could say, oh, okay, that is a good tip. Maybe I could use that while talking to my significant other, or to my kids, or to somebody else in my family. All right, so Farah gave my introduction. One more thing I want to say. We have people here at all different levels, and we're all in this together. So hopefully you will get something out of this conversation that you can start implementing it. Either it's new, and that's great. We always love to learn new information. But if it's something you already know, or you've heard of, or you're aware of it, let's see if you can start implementing it, right? There's so much knowledge out there, and a lot of it is with, common sense, wisdom, etc. But once we start implementing it, that's when it actually starts making a huge impact in our lives. Now, speaking of impact, what I want to do is I want to open our minds to just possibilities. A lot of times, when we think of communication skills, it's like presentation. I want to be a great presenter. I want to articulate. I want to be confident. I want to influence. Yes, those are all fantastic things. But there's a lot more impact we can make with communication skills. And we're going to talk about that impact in a second, all right? These are the things we're going to cover, some of the impacts that we can make. We're going to also talk about some of the mistakes, misconceptions, and challenges. But I don't want to leave you with those icky things, right? Challenges, mistakes, etc. We're going to talk about the solutions. These are some of the things that we come across, a lot of us, especially as women, come across. We're going to talk about communication at work, with family, and with self, especially in this time of COVID and and social distancing. And we will talk about some systems for productivity and sanity. All right, so I want to make it a little bit interactive, if that's okay with you guys. A little bit of a workshop format. If you have something to write with, go ahead and write this in your notepad. What are your goals, career goals, and life goals in the next 2 years, 5 years? Sorry, I said 1 year. 1 year, 2 year, whatever. 1 year, 5 years. Just write that down. We're not going to share this. This is your personal information. It's just for you. Write down your personal goals in the next 1 year, 5 years. And if you don't have your camera on, I would really love it, because I'd love to see your faces, wonderful faces, on this camera, because then I know what I am saying is making sense. Otherwise, I wouldn't know if I don't see your face. Yay. Thanks, Diane. All right. Now, the next question is this. Now, visualize what you could accomplish, or what it would look like once you accomplish those goals. What's the value of that for you? It could be emotional value. It could be feel-good value. It could be monetary value. It could be a family-related value. It could be an impact value. What is the value of it for you? And what if you did not accomplish it? God forbid, for some unknown, unforeseen reason, you couldn't accomplish it, how would you feel? What would be the pain? All right. Let's mute everybody. I hear a little bit of background noise. Just write that, keep that with you. What we're gonna do is, as we're the reason we wrote those goals is because communication skills don't happen in vacuum, right? Yeah, we wake up, we talk to a family, what do you want for breakfast? You know, we say good night, we cook lunch and dinner and whatnot. Some of us don't cook, that's fine. That's just, you know, mundane communication. But a lot of other types of communication, the strategic communication, has to happen in line with your goals. And that's why we're talking about the goals here. Now, since the topic of today's conversation is productivity and sanity, I want to just kind of highlight what jeopardizes our sanity. Before that, I'd love to see, with a show of hands, how many of us sometimes feel like, I'm going crazy, so much to do, so much this, so much that, whatever it is. How many of us are feeling that? Yes. Wave to me. If you don't want to wave, you could just, if you want to be anonymous, you could just, is there like a hand? See, we're all friends here. We're all from the same, you know, parent group. I don't think I saw a lot of you guys during my time at Harvard, but okay, a lot of us do feel that, right? I feel it all the time. Thanks, Lisa. I agree. I do. Thanks, Janet. I agree. I feel it a lot. Why do we feel that sense of stress, insanity, craziness in our lives? First, it's because of our mindset, right? Maybe negative self-talk from us or from the outside world, right? Outside world could be anything outside, anybody outside of us. Mismatch between our current and ideal situation that we're thinking. So I have, you know, perhaps you have deliverables, you have a deadline coming up, but now that we're all working from home, you've been pulled into the kitchen to do the dishes or to cook dinner for a loved one, right? And you don't want to be in there. You know, that lack of mindfulness and the lack of presence and the mismatch between what should it be and where you currently are. And that could be also related to our career goals. Oh, I was really hoping to be such and such at this role, at this position, making this kind of revenues, but this point in my life, I'm not. You know, whatever else it is. I was hoping to be in this kind of a relationship. I'm not, or I am. Or, you know, whatever else is the situation. I was hoping to be in Italy right now. This was my vacation. I had to cancel it. I'm not. Whatever is that current and ideal situation mismatch. Work pressures and deadlines, right? Those cause so much stress all the time. Lack of support and resources, and that could be anything from people around us, lack of support, lack of money, lack of resources, lack of people on our teams, lack of respect. Sometimes we don't get the respect that we want at work, at home, in the community, right? Lack of rewards and recognition and the desired outcomes that we want despite our hard work or despite all our good intention. Lack of an outlet, a lot of times. This is important. Lack of an outlet and lack of emotional support. A lot of times we just kind of keep bottled up, right? He said something, she said something, he said something, everything is coming to us. And we don't really have an outlet. We're just bottling up all those feelings. We're not telling them, well, you know what, your point of view is not quite right. Here is my point of view. Or maybe you are right, but I'm also right. There could be so many different points of views. So we keep bottling those up. We're not communicating it to the world or to the people who matter. And that's a lack of outlet, lack of emotional support, lack of, you know, we don't have friends or family or maybe a coach or a counselor to talk to us. Lack of being heard or being misunderstood. How many times does that happen that, you know, we feel not heard, not listened to, being misunderstood? I do. Do you guys, anybody? Or everybody? Yeah. What others are thinking about me, that creates a lot of stress too, right? A lot of us are worried. If you have gone over all of those things, it was very nice to meet you guys. If you guys have, you know, overcome all these hurdles, I think you're going to be golden. It was nice to see you. Email me. I'll see you for coffee or dinner or lunch later on when the world opens up. For the rest of us, we can stay here. All right. So I just wanted to say, because that sanity or that craziness, it kind of becomes like a chronic illness, chronic problem. You know, my shoulder is hurting, my back is hurting. We learn to live with it, right? Without thinking. So we want to be mindful of some of the reasons here. you can take a picture of that, because the next time something like that happens, you can just kind of see, I am feeling like this because there's a mismatch between current and ideal situation, or there's too much pressure and deadlines. And then what can I do about it? So you're going to go to create 3 different, you can do that right now too. Actually, we're going to go over that later. We're going to do that later. No worries. All right, before we go really deep into our conversation, I have a free gift for you. So when you guys registered for the event, there was a small survey. What would you like to get better at? And a lot of you guys said, I want to be able to speak with confidence, conquer nervousness, etc., etc. Again, 40 minutes is not enough for me to go over all of that. So what I have is a free course to speaking with confidence. So take a picture of that. Please take a look at it. We have some great pro tips which you can start implementing right away. Some mindset shifts and pro tips that you can implement right away. So just take a picture. I'll just wait for a couple of people who are taking pictures. It will come back later also. All right. Oh, as if that wasn't enough, I have one more gift for you. So I am happy to offer a 20-minute free coaching with me. That's going to be for a very short term. Just if you are interested in that, email me by tomorrow, because again, like everybody else, you know, time is very limited. I'm very busy too, but I'd just love to offer this to you, that I'm here to help support you. Jyoti@post.harvard.edu. That's my simple email. Moving on. All right. So now there was a recent MIT poll which said adults with communication and presentation and public speaking skills are 65% more likely to be promoted. Does that resonate with you? Promoted, growing in their careers. I mean, promoted is a very general term. Does that resonate? In the chat box, can I ask you guys to write what you think is that number for in your mind or from your experience? Would love to see that in the chat box. So if you scroll below, I don't see the chat box here. Chat, I see the chat. Yeah, 85%. Have COVID here still. Okay, 80%. That's pretty high. Yeah, that's great. I mean, just write that down. That's great to see that. I'm going to move on as you are printing those numbers and those dollar bills. Now, I want to talk about the massive impact that you can make with communication skills. First of all, it's really important to share your ideas, thoughts, and feelings and emotions. Let me first talk about just ideas and thoughts. When you share your ideas and thoughts, they can turn into big projects. They can turn into big programs. You can actually realize your vision and have it come to fruition only if you share it, correct? If you keep it to yourself, nothing's gonna happen. Anybody use Amazon Prime? Yes? It was an itty bitty idea by some person, some employee at Amazon. In a meeting, he said, well, what if we did something like a membership club and our members got some special deals or special pricing and they got like a quick delivery. Well, you know, it's an okay idea, but let's move on. Let's move on with the agenda of the meeting. It got brushed away, right? But that came back up. You know what? Let's talk about Rob's idea 15 minutes ago. And that idea just got snowballed over time in a good way and turned into Amazon Prime, which is the largest moneymaker for Amazon. And it's such a great product. It's such a great program for all of us. Now, also, when you communicate clearly and efficiently, you become more productive and efficient with interpersonal communication with your teams, right? A lot of us work with cross-functional teams, whether you are an entrepreneur, whether you work in the public sector, whether you work at a corporation, whether you work at a startup, whether you are a physician, whether you're a teacher, whatever you are. We are not working in a silo. We work with different people. So the clearer our communication is, the better that productivity is going to be with our teams. And our projects are going to get done, hopefully within budget or less than budget and within that time limit. You are known as an expert. Who doesn't want to be known as an industry expert? I mean, a lot of you guys went to Harvard. You know, you guys are really good at what you do. So you want to be known as an expert. And then as an expert, you create that visibility, you get the promotions and the bonuses and and the recognition, etc. And you get to help other people. There's a certain point in our lives, we went to a specific school at Harvard, right? We are all about what can we do for the world. We want to help people with our experience and our expertise. So there are so many great things we can do. This slide used to be very big. It was 4 slides. I combined it because I have so many more slides to go over. All right, so just wanted to say, communication skills are so critical, but unfortunately, most of us are left to sink or swim with this very critical skill that we need daily, just on our own. On our own, go sink, swim, whatever you want to do. Not much training is given, but a lot of you guys are really, really taking this heads on and making it, you know, move further for yourselves. All right. Now, what I want to go into is some of the misconceptions that we may have, or some of the problems we may have, or some of the mistakes we may be making as professionals, and especially as women. And I'm not saying this because I want to shine a light on a mistake or like say, oh, bad girl, you shouldn't be doing this. No, I just want to draw our attention to it. Mistake is nothing bad. It's just like an opportunity for us to learn. So if we could mute everybody, that would be really great. There's somebody who is not muted and we hear some background noise. Okay, thank you. All right, the first misconception is this. Hard work is the key to success. I mean, yeah, we have to do the hard work, but the hard work doesn't always speak for itself. You have to speak for your hard work. That's really important. A lot of times we think that, okay, I'm going to burn the midnight oil. I'm going to work really hard. I'm going to work, you know, 7 days a week, 80 hours a week. And you know what? I'm going to shine. I'm going to look really great. Does it always happen? If you don't tell your bosses or the people around you or your customers or your clients or your industry the amazing things you are doing, they don't always see the stuff that you are producing. Stuff, tried and vague. I teach people not to use that word, but I just use it. A lot of times, you know, do what I say, not what I do. Okay, so the amazing work that you produce, nobody knows. Here is a solution to it. How many of us think that we want to work hard and, you know, our hard work is going to shine the light on us? I did that for a long time. Even my boss didn't know the amazing work that I was doing. My work was actually contributing to 43% of the revenues, directly or indirectly. But nobody knew where that beautiful email came from, where that beautiful catalog came from. Because why? I was so busy working away in my office. I never told anybody about it. Not a good thing. Bad things could have happened. I saved them, but oh well. I'm not going into that story right now. So we want to speak for our hard work. We want to start communicating our worth, the impact that our work is creating, and the value that we are generating. We don't need to be overly humble. There are ways how we can toot our own horn without blowing it. I will leave this for questions because somebody's going to ask me this as a question later on. And your computer screen has enough light, which is just shining on you, but it's not shining nicely on you like spotlight, right? So you have to speak up. How do you do it? You create ways for yourself to give more presentations, speak up more in meetings, speak on industry conferences, or speak now on industry Zoom. Tell people around you, your bosses, friends, not friends, you know, your boss's peers, your boss's bosses, what you're doing, even like people who report into you. Again, when I say bosses, you know, I know you guys are all in different industries. Not everybody has a boss, but just translate that when I say boss, maybe think client for you if you are an entrepreneur or if you run a business. All right, the second misconception is this: it will all fall into place. Now I want to be an SVP in 3 years, or I want to be an EVP, or I want to be the senior director, or I want to be the, you know, whatever I want to be. Oh yeah, in 5 years, I'll just keep working hard. It will fall into place. I'll get this promotion, that promotion. Actually, doesn't quite happen like that, right? We have to plan it out. What do? Do you think that, okay, I'm going to get that promotion to a director, then I'm going to get the promotion to the VP and then the SVP? Yeah, you kind of think about that. And okay, I need to do all this. I need to meet these KPIs. Along with that kind of planning, you need to plan for one more thing. And that is your communication strategy. Here is the solution. Solution for this misconception, I call it mistake. Okay, fine. Take responsibility for your growth and for your visibility. Again, you would have identified your goals and the teams and the organization's goals. But then at the same time, identify the key stakeholders, like I said, your boss's colleagues, your boss's boss, everybody else in that ecosystem who needs to know about you. Not every time your boss, again, I'm saying the boss, but you kind of can translate into whatever it means for you, has your best interest in mind. Maybe the boss feels threatened. Maybe the boss doesn't see the value you bring, but let other people around you sing praises of you. How will they do that? Because you're starting to speak more and more about yourself and about the amazing work. You're not going to say, well, you know what, guess what I just did? I just contributed, you know, I just brought in $1 million in revenue in the last 6 months. That was amazing. You don't say it like that. You say it in a story format. This is how you toot your own horn without blowing it. You start plugging it in different places. And again, I'm thinking, you know, more of an organization, corporate background, but if you're in another situation where it doesn't apply, bring it to me later and we can try to respond to that. You know, you have like a water cooler conversation, you have a lunch meeting, you run into somebody in an elevator. It's like your elevator pitch. Oh, how's everything going? The weather is beautiful. You want to waste your 30 seconds with when you run into that EVP or that SVP or to the CEO with the weather conversation. Maybe it's nice once in a while, but what you want to do, you know what, things are going great. I just finished this amazing project and I'm very excited. However, I just ran into this big problem with the current project that I'm working on. I do have a couple of solutions. I'll try to solve them. Let's see how it's gonna go. I'll keep you posted. Maybe this was a CEO, maybe this was somebody 2 steps above you, 1 step above you, whatever they were. Maybe this is an important client that you ran into, or you made yourself run into this person. Maybe 2 weeks later, now you have resolved that problem. Oh, you run into this person again at the coffee, by the coffee or the cooler, and you say, oh, how are things going? Weather is great, fine, great. Actually, remember that one big problem I was having? I'm so excited we resolved it, but the solution I found, it actually helped us save, I don't know, $250,000, I don't know, $50,000, whatever it is, or helped us increase the revenues, or really made our clients really happy, whatever it was. So when you're telling your story, make it really real. Make yourself vulnerable, bring the human aspects of it, bring the pitfalls, like the downs of your story, right? The down of their story, so that when you go to the higher parts of your story, this is like a hero's journey. They're rooting for, oh, great job, Julie. That was really great. Okay, Devin, that was phenomenal. I knew if anybody could do it, it would be only you, because I knew you solved that thing 6 months ago too. Madeline, again, that's amazing. I was kind of concerned about it, but you resolved it. That's phenomenal. You guys see that? So that storytelling and that narrative about you has to go on with the right strategic partners pretty much all the time. And you have to plant yourself in the right spot, and you have to plant those conversations in the right spot. Do a SWOT analysis on you, right? Your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. And whenever you want to, whenever you have the opportunity to meet and greet and speak with somebody at a presentation or a small, you know, one-on-one or one-to-many type of conversation, highlight the strengths and minimize your weaknesses. Well, let's say, Jyoti, you know what? You really screwed up on that. You know, I was looking for those files, but we couldn't find those files. You're really terrible at organization. You know, that's interesting. I know we had some trouble finding because the files were kept somewhere else, but I have a new organization system and now anybody can have it. Let me send you access to it. So now I have kind of cleared from their mind that they think that Jyoti is bad at organization. So this is how you start creating that narrative and that persona around you, which is really, really important. Any questions so far? Are we all good? Good. Is it okay if I give examples with your names? Is it okay? I just want to bring you on in the conversation. All right, cool. Hi, Sandy. All right. Okay, now, where are we? All right, this is a big one. I hear a lot of women say this to me. They call me aggressive, bossy, bitchy, badass. What do I do? How do I connect with them? How do I influence? Anybody, oops. Anybody feel this? Anybody hear this ever? Yes, please raise your hands. If your camera is turned off, just raise hands, the little digital hand, and then we'll see that your hand is raised. Yes, this is common. Even if you are not being called this, aggressive, bossy, bitchy, badass, etc., or something like that, Maybe you're called very verbose. Well, she's always stealing the limelight. She's always front and center. She's whatever they're saying. And even if they're not saying any of these negative things, the next few steps that we're going to talk about is going to help you in kind of connecting and building that influence with people, or influencing people. Ooh. Communication with self. All right, before we go into that, I'm going to also talk about communication with self. This connects this part and then our goals part and our insanity, the sanity part. Take your worksheets again or your notebooks, and write this down. Write down everything. What are some of the self-sabotage? So here's what you're going to do. 2 lines so that you have 3 columns, right? Take a big page, 2 lines through the page. So first column is going to be all the self-sabotaging things that you're talking to yourself. The second column is we're gonna come back to that. First, you've written everything down, so write those down. They say, I am bossy, I'm aggressive, I am not organized. They say it or I think of it, whatever it is. I can never do it. I can never hit that number. I cannot reach that KPI. I can, they're never gonna like me. I am not an influencer. I'm not a good public speaker. I can't get those clients. I can't finish the project on time. I've never been able to finish the project on time. Whatever it is. I'm a bad mom. I'm a bad spouse. I'm a this. I'm a that. I'm not a good daughter. I'm not good with myself. I'm not taking care of myself. Can you please write it down? Write it down. Because there is a lot of power in writing. The reason why I'm asking you to write it is because it's always up here. Jumbled up like spaghetti. It's too much pressure on you. You think with all that pressure, you're going to turn into a diamond? Well, guess again, probably not. We're going to turn into carbon. So we don't want that kind of pressure. So write it all down, get it out and put it on paper. Once you have written it down, just give me a thumbs up. The first column, you're going to write it down in. All right, written down. Second column, this is what you're going to do. But you're going to make the negative up, like the positive side of it. So this is unattainable. Take that out, right? Make it attainable. It's impossible. It is possible. It is achievable. I am organized. I'm on time. I'm an amazing mother. I am an amazing collaborator. I am so great with building relationships. I'm a great speaker. Whatever you think. My bosses love me. My boss hates me. My boss loves me. I did not reach my goals last year. Oh, I'm definitely reaching my goals this year and even more. Write that down. And in the third column, I want you to start writing because it's going to be a little bit of a longer journey. What can I do to actually reach those, make this the reality, to make this middle column the reality? What can I do to make it a reality? It could be not only in terms of work, but also communication. Who do I need to be talking to? Who do I need to be building relationships with? Who do I need to be telling about my work? Who do I need to be telling I'm an expert at this? When they know it, then they're going to invite me to speak at that conference, to lead the company, I know, all hands-on meeting for something. When I do that, then everybody's going to see how amazing work I am doing. Or I will finally get the promotion when they see that the 43% of the revenues of the company came because of my efforts, right? So write that down and keep this handy. You will go back in the interest of time. We're going to move on. But I just want you to bookmark this and come back to this. You can do different versions of it, keep adding to it. How many of you guys journal? You write in a journal? Okay, maybe we'll do another workshop on journaling. All right, moving on. Now, so remember this thing we talked about? They call me bossy and aggressive and bitchy and whatever else. All right, so we're going to talk about the solution. How do I influence? First things first. Develop a thick skin. You know what? This is hard. For some of us, we have a thick skin, and which is, I congratulate you. I applaud you. I don't have it. I have had a very hard time with developing a thick skin. I actually, people say visualize. I keep visualizing a rhinoceros. I'll become a rhinoceros. But, maybe I've gotten a little better, but, something if you're not inherently, so this is a negative mindset, right? I need to put it in my first column and second column. Thank you very much for reminding. Develop a thick skin. Okay, this is a great start. What else can you do? Again, they are calling you all these nasty things, or or you need to influence. Maybe they're not calling you that, right? You need to influence other people without coming across as bossy, but you still want to show some authority and assertiveness, but by being friendly. Do you see the difference between this lady? I mean, she seems nice. I mean, we know, we can relate to her. She seems nice, but to other people, she may not seem so nice. And this lady, what are some of the differences? You guys can unmute yourself and talk to me. That's fine. Talk to me. Unmute yourself and just speak.
So I want to say something about those last two images.
Yes.
Because I'm very involved in local politics. And the picture that you had previously, I don't know who tells all the women that they have to pose like that, but all of our women candidates, 100%, they'll pose with their arms crossed like that. And I think somebody maybe back in the 80s said that's a power stance. But I find just looking at it a little off-putting, and especially when it's someone who has a very kind of opposite personality. So, I mean, some of the warmest, fuzziest people I know, the human rights activists, the people who really feel for other people, who have these really great soft skills, they pose for these pictures. So I think part of it is a stance. When someone stands like that, they look bossy. But I don't know why women are encouraged to stand like that and take that pose to show their power. I don't think you have to stand like that to show your power.
Exactly. In fact, you show more power when you don't stand like that, and we'll talk about it. Thank you so much. Can you tell your name? I couldn't see your picture.
Yeah, Carol Lieber. I'm the one with the COVID hair.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Appreciate that comment. All right. So let's talk about this picture. This lady seems, I mean, she's professionally dressed, seems a little friendlier. Why? She has a smile. She has these natural gestures. She seems to be kind of complimenting this other younger person, right? Or maybe helping her with something, or appreciating something that she's doing. And now everybody else is clapping, and everybody seems very, very happy about the young lady and the boss lady, right? So there's a lot to be said in this picture. Everybody's kind of drinking their coffee, so it seems like a little bit of a friendly environment, right? Let's move on. Just wanted to kind of, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So difference from the stern boss lady and this, right? Certain things that we're seeing. So first things first, what can you do to influence more with a friendliness, but still, you could still be assertive, but don't have to necessarily be like aggressive looking or feeling or perceiving, right? So this is how you do it. Start with a smile. This is one of the biggest tools I teach my students, which is really funny. Well, we're not going to pay you thousands of dollars if you just are going to teach us to smile. Well, because it's so important, we all forget to smile. God gave us this fantastic tool. Sandy, you have the most gorgeous smile, dear. I love it. Thank you. She's smiling. She's one of the few people who smile. Smiling does what? It builds bridges. It dissolves, diffuses tension. It helps us become friends with people we either had a fight with or we don't even know those people. You always want to start with a smile. All right. So look at this lady on the left. Do you really want to, like, you walk into this a room with her and you're like, you know what, she's so mean. I don't know if she's going to really support me. And then you walk into a room with this other lady with the glasses and the smile. She seems so friendly and we want to talk to her. All right, people, let's practice our smiles. Is that okay if we practice our smiles? At the count of 3, we're going to all smile and we're going to hold it until I say release. And everybody, please show me your beautiful smiles on your cameras. If your camera is not on, you know, it's a short conversation. In about 20 minutes, we're going to hang up. So please. All right. 1, 2, 3, smile. 1, 2, 3, smile. Everybody smile. Smile. Good job. Good job. I'm checking. You're going to be graded for this. Release. When you smile, also take a deep breath in. Okay. 1, 2, 3, smile. Release and exhale. 1, 2, 3, smile. Release and exhale. Now the smile looks more familiar. You think you guys can do this hard job of smiling more? You guys can do that? All right. So if it's not too much to ask, can I ask you to smile in between? I know sometimes your cheeks can start hurting. Give yourself a little facial, right? So that's why I love talking to a women's group. giving a facial is not out of the ordinary, right? It's good. When I talk to like on a Zoom meeting with my girlfriends, not girlfriends, but like female colleagues, I'm happy sitting here giving myself a little facial. All right, so smile. So this is very, very important. Everything, whether it's public speaking, it's one-on-one conversation, we're gonna start with smile. All right, now, second is, again, we're talking about influencing people without coming across as aggressive, right? You want to start building relationship and connection with people. Don't just come to a work meeting and say, well, is that done? Or, well, shouldn't it be done by now? Or, you know, things like those seem so harsh and mean. Well, what did I just accomplish? And like you're boasting, that's not how we want to toot our own horn, right? You want to start building. Hi, how are you, Farah? How are the kids? Good? Last time I saw your daughter, she's so cute. And how was the dinner with your husband? Good? Great. Excellent. All right. So we're building relationship, right? I've already built relationship with my friend Sandy here, Claire, Charlotte, right? We're building. Julie, hi again. I'm only saying hello to people who have their screens on. Diane, Abby. All right. So building relationship is very important. Why? Because it opens doors to actually get that communication going, right? Are they more perceptive? Sorry, are they more receptive to what you have to say if they kind of like you and if they have the relationship with you versus if they don't like you? Oh, that mean boss lady is here again. She's going to force me to do this job, which I don't want to do. Instead of that, hi, Lisa. You know what? You did a phenomenal job last time. I just have a request of you. And let's say I'm the boss lady, but I'm the nice boss lady. I've turned from mean to nice. Lisa, would you be able to do this project? And I know you have a lot on your plate. Perhaps we cannot just forget about the other two tasks. But if you could do this by tomorrow, and I'll help you with it. Would that be okay, Lisa? I'm not as mean a boss lady, and I just influenced you to do something, right? All right. Now, you want to be encouraging, inspiring, and appreciating. Again, a lot of people are like, and sometimes I'm like that too. I'm sorry. You know, we all have to work on all of these things at all times. When I'm working with my, you know, my associate, well, what is that done? Is that not done? But yesterday, I said, let's get on the phone, and I just want to really thank you for the things that you've been doing and doing on time. And she was so happy. She's all over doing, you know, giving her very best to me now. I mean, I didn't do it out of inauthenticity. I did it from my authentic self. So, but you need to appreciate people, even at home, right? Your cleaning lady or your nanny does something well, appreciate them, inspire them. Whoever else is doing something well. We are always encouraging our kids, encourage other people too. That's really important. You know what? Table stakes are not just the job done. You still have to appreciate them for the job that they're supposed to do. So now you're building relationship and that friendliness with them. Now, the other thing is, again, around that whole thing, friendly, kind, and nurturing tone. You know, understanding them, being empathetic to them, their problems. We have a physician here. The physician could be talking to a patient or could be talking to another colleague, right? We have these two colleagues over here, and maybe she has a headache. Maybe she has another problem, and I understand what you're going through. Maybe the girl on the right with the glasses is the boss, right? And maybe she says, or maybe she's her colleague, and maybe she's telling her, you know what? I understand sales have been hard, but these are some of the things that I did. Perhaps they may work for you. Let's do it together. Let me help you, right? Now, the other thing is asking questions to get them thinking, get them pondering. So this is really important too. A lot of times people at work or at home, right? Or in the community or when you're speaking, you're on stage and you're speaking to people in the audience, they have a different way of doing things. Let's take this more interpersonal level, right? I wouldn't have done this project like this. I mean, I don't know why she did it like this. Yeah, I would have never done this project like this. What were you thinking? I mean, that's a bad question. You don't want to ask that question, but you could ask, oh, that's a great way to, and a lot of us do that, but sometimes we forget that too. Were there some other things that we could have thought about, or were there any other issues that this would raise? Perhaps, what about in 2 weeks, if this happens, then that might happen. What would happen in that scenario? I was just thinking, wondering if, I'm sure you've already thought about it. So the more we ask questions, the better responses we get, and they don't feel that we're pushing it down their throat. Or if you want to influence your boss for a new project, and maybe you don't have the budget, and you tell them, you know what, let's see, what industry am I gonna pick? The new program that we're gonna launch with Uganda, you know what, we're targeted to launch it in 6 months. And I was thinking ahead, because once we do, after 2 months, the project is going to explode. And I was thinking, wondering if we are going to need additional 2 resources, because I crafted the project plan, and marketing is given to this person, finance is given to this person, but what about the operations? And I think what do you think, how many people we need for operations? You know the answer in your head already. You're thinking you need 2 people. Ask the boss. Yeah, I think we need 2-3 people, but we don't have the money for it. I understand, but how important is this project for the UN or for Uganda or for whoever else, whatever the project is, right? So ask more questions, and you can implement this strategy also at home. Well, this pasta dish you cooked was really terrible. What were you thinking? Really? A lot of times we get very offended. Really, it was terrible? I'm so sorry. What was wrong with it? I can fix it the next time, or maybe let me fix it right now. Too much salt. Okay, let me just wash it out and remake it for you. Okay, if you ask questions, you don't get offended, and you're not offending anybody, and nobody is starting to play that defensive game. And a lot of stress and tension happens, and you break relationships, you burn the bridges, and anything else that you want to do in the future just becomes very, very difficult. You're literally, with that kind of a relationship with your colleague or your boss or somebody at home, you're literally, let's say you were climbing up on top of a mountain. When something like that happens, like a bad conversation and a bad argument, you're rolling down the hill and you're down in the valley. So you have to pick yourselves up and trudge yourself back up the mountain. So might as well not do that, right? Just stop at a little plateau. Let's talk it out, right? And figure out an amicable way where you can both meet at a middle ground and start influencing them. You don't want to be influenced by them. You could be influenced by them. Also, one more thing, you want to start creating a bigger pie, right? We want to create a bigger pie. All right, we're going to be starting question and answers soon, but the other thing is you want to share your vulnerability and humility. So let's say you are the lead salesperson or you're the lead program manager, but if you are starting to build that relationship with other people, I know it's hard. I know I was in that situation about a year ago. These are some of the lessons I learned. And you know what? When I worked on this, I was at my rock bottom. I was doing really badly. So I just don't want you to have to repeat the same mistakes, because it took me about 2 months of time to get out of this. So here is my strategy, or here is my SOP, which is standard operating procedures. You are welcome to have it. All right, we talked about body language. Let's not have that confrontational body language, right? If you want to influence people, you don't want to do that, right? Be more, be more forthcoming with your body. No hands like stuck in different, behind your back, across your chest, and on your shoulder, and on your waist. Not a good thing. So just to review, just take a picture of this if you want to, because again, I'm short on time. So I'm not gonna go over this. All right. I was gonna go over how I can speak with authority. I feel like I don't speak with authority. Nobody wants to listen to me. But again, we don't have so much time. What I want to jump over into is a few things that you could do to engage on Zoom. Is that something that would be of interest to you? Okay. First of all, on Zoom, it's very challenging, right? The people are not there. We don't see each other in person. We don't feel each other's energy and presence. So what you have to do is you have to 2x or 3x your normal energy. You have to speak a little bit louder, and you have to really dose yourself up with extra, like whatever, sunny, what is that drink called that we used to drink when we were growing up, like really bad high sugar drink, whatever it is, or the Energizer Bunny. Plug yourself in with extra batteries so that for that 1 minute, 1 hour, you are high energy. Bring high energy, because that shows. Now, if there are a lot of people and you're not seeing them, it's hard you're not making eye contact. Imagine you're talking to one person, and imagine that person is a good friend or a good colleague, or maybe you're brother, sister, or a cousin of yours, because you make it conversational. You make it down to earth. You also speak to them in a nice way, right? You want to speak to these other people in a nice way. Bring your personality. We don't want to hide our personalities, because if they don't like my personality, they might as well not work with me. I mean, we don't want to lose our job if we have a job, but bring your personality. Oh, number 3 is what? Smile. You've never heard that one before. Smile. Bring relevant jokes. It's important. I didn't have time for jokes. I should have put in jokes, but you know what? It's fine. You bring jokes. You bring humor. Bring stories. Stories are important. I have a whole module on story. When I teach my public speaking and my communications course, whole module on story, because stories really help you connect and relate really complex subjects in a very beautiful way, which is actually memorable. Ask questions. We talked about that. Also, you can ask them to wave, thumbs up. You can ask them to do little cute little things. Sometimes I ask my people to rap with me. Sometimes I'll ask my audience to do a dance with me. Talk to people by name, right, Diana? I mean, it's nice to see you, Diana. And then you can do polls, you can do chats, you can do Q&A, which we're gonna do. And then you can also do breakout sessions. These are all possibilities in Zoom, and that really makes it interactive. I do entire courses and classes on Zoom, and it's quite fun. I don't even feel the difference. Etiquette, I mean, that's a lot of etiquette. Let me see what else I wanna talk about. Okay, lighting, I have these ring light. You could get that, or just face a window, or get like a desk lamp. It's usually okay. One other tip, what you can do is you want to elevate your laptop so that camera is eye level with you, so that it doesn't look like you're looking down on the audience members. All right, communicating while working from home. Let me just point out a few important things here. As you're communicating and working from home, you want to create boundaries, but those boundaries are going to be blurry boundaries, and you're going to make them so that it works for you. What I mean by that is this. Anybody resonate with this? I mean, some of the kids are not, my kids are not that young, but still they need me, right? I want you to say that you can start creating a new type of a non-traditional schedule, right? If you are working with a team, if you have to go into work, that's different. And schedule, and you want to communicate that with your bosses and your colleagues and the people that who report into you. Schedule could be, perhaps you have younger kids and you had to like help them study for school, and you can't work from 9 to 12. Sorry, boss, but I'll get the job done. Perhaps you're like me. I only have like a half an hour chunk or maximum 50-minute chunk, and then I have to run into the house or into the kitchen to give somebody their snack or breakfast or cook or like check on my kids. And that's something that I have to do, and it's very hard for me, but no, I have to do what I have to do. What I've started doing is waking up earlier to get more time, quiet time. There is also this Pomodoro method for sanity, right? If you can do 50 minutes of absolutely focused work without any kind of distractions, and then the last 10 minutes, you can engage with people and you can communicate that again to your team, your bosses, your family, that you know what, between, I don't know, 11:50 and 12, I'm always available to talk to you. Don't disturb me between that, because I really want to get this deadline done and I want to give you my full attention. Pomodoro method works really beautifully. Okay, for project tracking, don't work out of your emails, right? That's very distracting. Some good tools, some of you are already using them: Asana, Monday, Slack, Trello, Microsoft Teams. All of you guys you just need one of them. You don't need all of them, but they work really nicely to connect with teams and to do project management. So do that. Also have more empathy again for everybody else in your team and for yourself. Give yourself some love, some kindness, give yourself some grace. Don't be harsh on yourself. We all are. It's easier said than done. Say what I say, don't do what I do, because I am harsh on myself, and I know you guys are too. So we have to remind ourselves that you don't need to be harsh on yourself. Over communicate with your teams. A lot of you said, how do I articulate and communicate clearly so that they will listen and they will do the job that needs to be done? Have SOPs, right? Standard operating procedures. Write them down or record them. You can record them and share them with people so that you don't have to tell them to all your different team members all different times. You can use this thing called Loom, L-O-O-M, L-O-O-M. Sorry for my bad exaggerated accent. That's a good one that will allow you to record the SOPs or videos. You know, over communicate, tell them this is when I'll be available, this is when I'll do this, or the job that needs to be done in these 10 different steps, so that no rework is needed. Nobody wants to do rework. That's really important. All right, we are ignoring the most important entity, that's ourselves. This is like my big message to you, right? Give yourself good love. Like, you know, I mean, I don't mean it in a bad way, like take care of yourself, right? Don't let that happen to you. You're overworked, multitasking, doing everything, taking care of loved ones. Communicate with the family also. Honey, mommy needs to work from 9 to 12. Dear husband, I really need to be gone for 7 hours because I have this big presentation, big deadline. Can you please support the family? Thank you. Take care of the kids. Whoever, delegate, you know, ask them for help. Mind the co-creator, it's a big, okay, one thing I will leave you with, meditate, visualize, breathe. That will not only help you manage the sanity or insanity or make you more productive, but also when you are in an important meeting or you are doing an important presentation, it will really help you calm yourself down and do your very best. We talk about these, again, in my comprehensive course, Ivy League Communicator. If that's of interest, I can share the details later. But also we talk a little bit about that in the free course on confidence. All right, how are you guys feeling? You can do it? Overwhelmed, underwhelmed? Got it? Please take advantage of these gifts I have. You know, they are good, bite-sized, helpful things. I'm also doing another presentation on Friday, which is around how to give a very engaging presentation online or live in person. That's on Friday. If that's of interest, email me. I'll send you the details. All right, this is how you, oh yeah, that's that. All right, I'm gonna open the floor to questions. I'm very happy to answer any kind of questions you have. Sorry, we couldn't, again, not cover everything. Farah, how do we want to do questions? Should we do it in chat box, or should we do Q&A, or should we allow people to unmute themselves? I'm going to stop.
Well, thank you, Jyoti, for all that information. It was so much. I'm sure our members and attendees have a lot of questions for you. Well, in the spirit of collegiality and friendliness that characterizes our organization, as well as your talk today, I would just leave it free and up to the public to unmute themselves and ask a question instead of using the chat box. So if you have any question right now, it's a good time to ask Jyoti.
You can just unmute yourself because I cannot see everybody at all times. So unmute yourself and ask me. Will you share the slide deck with us? We might be able to share a recording with you. Okay. Any questions? Wow.
So I have a question. I'm on Zoom. Yeah, Carol. Hi. Thank you very much. I love your energy and enthusiasm. This was a lot of fun. I'm on Zoom call someday for 10 hours straight, and it's back to back. So it's just really hard to be on the camera all the time because, first of all, you have human needs. You have to eat. You have to take a drink of water, and it's just being on all the time, looking at yourself all the time on Zoom. Aside from the fact that I have COVID hair and haven't been able to get to the hairdressers yet, that's what I find the most stressful is it's not natural to be looking at yourself for, you know, multiple hours in a row in a day, and just kind of feeling like you need to have that little bit of a break where you can get a glass of water, get something to eat or what have you without people feeling like you've left the meeting. So do you have any tips for that? How to stay engaged when you really need to kind of step away from being on all the time?
Great question. Could you tell me very briefly in one sentence, like, are these a lot of meetings that you're in? Are you speaking a lot? What are these 10 hours of Zoom?
It's a mix because everybody's on Zoom now. So I do a lot of volunteer work, and I'm a national delegate for Joe Biden for the national convention. We have a lot of things coming up. So I have a lot of online meetings, and I'm also doing a lot of organizing, but I'm also a human rights commissioner. So I have meetings for that. So there are other things that I'm doing in my personal life that I'm on meetings for, and it just happens that some days it's 10 hours, but it hasn't been less than 4 hours, and it's usually in the evening because other people are working all day long, and it just becomes very stressful to, you know, to be on all the time. So just, you know, how do you kind of step away from that and continue to look engaged, looking in the camera, smiling, whatever, when it's for extended periods back to back all day long? Excuse me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That's a real life question during the COVID times. Couple of things. First things first, as COVID and social distancing has arrived, and we all have very difficult working situations with, you know, us getting pulled, and you're not able to get pulled because you have to be here. What I tell everybody, and a lot of companies and organizations are also doing, is just being very honest, very open, and very human. So let's say, Carol, you were already on a call for 6 hours, and now I'm your next call, right? Zoom call. Hi, Carol, how are you doing? You can tell me, Jyoti, you know what? I'm so happy to see you, but I'm exhausted. I've had 6 hours back to back, and I couldn't even go get a glass of water. Do you mind if I just go get one? Carol, I do this all the time. Even when I'm teaching, sometimes I have 2 glasses of water, and I run out, and 1 second, I'll be right back. I'll get my glass of water. Or, you know what? I sometimes, again, you've kind of built a relationship. Like I said, let's say if Sheila and I are having a call, and Sheila and I talk maybe once a week, I'll do my little mini facial massage because my face is hurting. It just depends who you're talking to, right? It just depends. Or I'll, you know, ask some of my people to stretch with me, right? Let's all stretch together because it hurts. You know, just this 1 hour, right? I've been sitting on, and we all work on nights, our desks, etc. I have like a 2-hour class right after this. So just be honest. Tell them your needs. You know, if you don't mind, I'll be right back in 2 minutes. I just need to, you know, use the bathroom. I mean, if you're comfortable saying it, or I just need to just take a bio break because I was on these calls. So just be honest. That's all I have to say. And then about being like present at all times, you can bring your smile back to normal and then keep smiling. If you think they're talking to you, if there's a certain point that you should be smiling and be engaged, you can bring it back. Once in a while, if it's a lot of people, I guess it's okay to turn your camera off and stretch. All right, can we all stretch for a second? Everybody stretch with me. Stretch, stretch. I hope that was helpful, Carol. If you have more questions, just shoot me an email. Yes, everybody stretch, guys. That's why I love working with girls like you. Kisses. Another question. I'm happy to take another question. Carol, I can have a longer answer. Just reach out to me. I just wanted to take a couple more questions, but great.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
Any other questions? And I know we're at 6:02, so if you have to go, that's fine. But I can stay for a little bit longer and answer some more questions. I think I can stay for 10 minutes longer. Farah, is that okay? Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
I was just, I put it in the chat, but I try to avoid making other people angry or challenging other people. And that I don't know if that's part of it, but it makes interpersonal communication difficult.
It makes interpersonal communication difficult. Tell me a little bit more in 2 sentences. You try to, tell me a little bit more so that I understand.
I just don't like arguing or making other people angry.
Right, so that's why you're saying that I cannot tell them my point of view or the way I'm thinking or how they might have hurt my feelings or they might have been offending me, right? Yes, this is very important. I feel this all the time, both at work and in the, you know, in personal life. And recently what I've started doing is, I mean, you can't always do it. I mean, it takes a lot of courage to share your thoughts and ideas and your feelings, but you want to separate it out. And there are different ways to do it. So a couple of things. Where do you, give me one example, because I can't talk about all the examples. Give me one example. Who would this person be? And
like an old boss I had who asked me to do things I disagreed with. All
right. So boss, you know what? I think that's a really great idea. And within you, Sandy, you're thinking, I can't believe you just asked me to do this. And I have to do it against my values, against my wishes. I don't agree with this. You know what? This is great. Perhaps if we did it, are there any other ways we could also look at this? Or what if, you know, I had another idea. Is that okay if I share, right? You're still being very polite. You're not gonna burn any, bridges here. Well, you know what? No, not really, Sandy, because my idea is the best, because I'm the boss, right? Yes, I know, and I'll do exactly how you want it to, but I was just thinking, if we did it like this, I think it will take us 2 days less or 2 weeks less, or you know what, we won't have to involve the other team, or the budget would be less. I don't know, is that interesting to you? I can pursue both of them. We can see the pros and cons. I'll come back to you tomorrow and look at the pros and cons of this idea and that idea. Maybe we can find a meeting ground, right? Take the good things from this and take the good things from this. That way you shared your feelings. So yeah, sometimes if somebody has offended you, you can just say, and you should say this. I have not said this in a long time, not just you, for everybody. Maybe you can't say it, you're taken aback, right? Again, this is work or personal life. The conversation we had about that, I totally understand your point of view, because I know it was my mistake, or I know that I do things differently from you, or whatever else. This is for everybody. But actually the way you said it just really seemed that you were, I was quite offended and hurt by that. I know you probably did not mean to do it. The purpose of that is not to make them feel bad, but the purpose of this conversation is so that they don't do this again to you and keep hurting you, because maybe that's their style of talking. Maybe they're just abrasive. Maybe they don't know they're abrasive, right? So let's all take it upon ourselves to let other people know to not keep hurting us, and to let them know that we have good ideas too. There's no one good way of doing things. There could be multiple good ways of doing things. Yes? Sandy, much love. All right, other questions? Unmute yourself if you have a question.
It's really not hard.
All good. Guys, is there a question? Not guys, I can't. Okay. Ladies, please do take advantage of the resources that I shared with you, and maybe Farah or I can even send you the links, because they will really be helpful. And then time to time, I also send a lot of other helpful things, so bad, resources, I should say, that would, help you in different phases of life and phases of conversations. Was there a question? I'm happy to answer. I have about 3 more minutes.
I can ask another one if no one else wants to.
Yeah.
Go for it, Sandy.
Any suggestions for, I unfortunately still have a few professional engineers, for example, or lawyers who I believe treat me poorly because I'm a woman, like a dumb blonde.
Tell me a little bit more. Like, what do you want to get out of this? Like,
so I'm on the zoning hearing board, and someone like another lawyer or the engineer will say something kind of like they know what they're talking about. And I'll interrupt when I was chair and say, that's not what I wanted. You're not part of, and I'm pretty damn rude.
Okay. So there are 2 things here. First, they all have a preconceived notion about us. Everybody has a preconceived notion about everybody. It's not just them against us. We have preconceived notions about other people too. Mm-hmm. So we come with them. And then our interactions with people also keep building, piling on. So it's kind of like, sandstone. How is sandstone formed? With layers and layers of sand. So one layer of sand is literally one experience, one perception, more and more and more with time, and then we're thinking, oh my gosh, this person is a rock, whatever that rock means, right? So we need to break it. And I think what we talked about today in that whole how do I influence people, some of the things from there you could take. First things first, you could, we don't want to be rude. We want to just unrude ourselves and be more polite and calm. Oh, that's an interesting point. Again, same thing. Thank you so much for sharing. Same thing, asking questions. I was thinking about it, or when I was talking to Michael, he came up with this other idea. I think that's also interesting. Perhaps you don't always take accolades for all the ideas coming from you, right? Okay, Michael's idea was great. Yours is great. Let's see what would be the best for the organization. And again, if we are rude, people will not like us. There's no way. But sometimes, it just comes out like that. So we have to be overly conscious. Before I say anything, again, both in personal and professional life these days, I think it twice. Is this necessary? Can I tweak my sentence in a different way so that no harm is done, nobody's feelings are hurt? Do I really need to say it? Can I say it in another time? Can I use somebody else to use the influence and say it and not say it myself, because it's a very delicate relationship, right? So many different things. So just take 5 seconds to think something through and then decide. You can always come back, almost always come back and say that sentence later. Almost always, not always. But we're always like, oh my gosh, why didn't I say it that time? That's so smart. I can't believe that person said that to me. But you could have said something really badly. Anybody could have said something really badly. Better to not have that guilt and to like clean up after ourselves from falling in that valley, and to say it later after being very well thought out. You know what? Your idea was really great. Can we have I had a couple of additional thoughts. Can we have a quick 10-minute meeting and then you say a well thought out answer or conversation?
Mm-hmm.
I hope that's helpful. Okay. All right. We're at 6:10.
Great. Yes, we are at 6:10, 10 minutes past our official end time. So out of awareness of people's busy schedules nowadays, we are going to call it a day. But thank you, Lisa, is saying it's 6 a.m. in Singapore. Thank you for joining all the way from Singapore, Lisa. I just wanted to thank everyone for coming. I would like to thank Jyoti for this amazing presentation. It's definitely been filled with excellent advice that I think we can all put into practice in our daily lives, both personal and professional. This presentation has been recorded, so we hope to share it with all of you, and it should come as a link to our website in the next few days or so. It should arrive into your inbox. And as I mentioned at the beginning, if you are not yet a member of our organization, please join, and please take a look at our calendar of events. I set up the links in the chat box for you to just click and make it easy for you to join us and enjoy more of our events. So thank you again, everyone, for coming.
So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also, if you would like to become a confident, articulate, and engaging speaker, please do check out our free course on speaking with confidence for maximum influence. The link to the course is in the details below.